This is part 2 of how I ended up in the hospital again. After years of hard physical work on board, the pain started creeping in. First in my hands, then climbing up to my shoulders. I've felt aches before, sure, but it's nothing like this. This time, it felt deeper, like my body was finally pushing back after all the years of wear and tear. I left my previous company chasing something better. I was hoping the grass was really greener on the other side. And to be fair, it kind of was. The salary almost doubled. The money was great. Honestly, the best I've ever had. And we actually had days off. Coming from the galley, I didn't even know that was possible.
May video? Yes, I take
On the
video.
surface, everything looked good, but the workload hit me hard. I wasn't the same anymore. My body couldn't handle it like it used to when I first started out. I could feel it breaking down, and I had to face the fact that I wasn't in the same shape I used to be. Back then, I could handle anything: long hours, heavy lifting, constant movement. I never got tired easily. My body was strong and reliable. I could carry loads and loads without even thinking twice about it. But things have changed. Every time I step on board and make it through another contract, I can feel myself breaking down. I'm not who I used to be. My body's giving out, slowly but surely. It started with numbness and pain in my hands. At first, I didn't take it seriously. I thought this is just part of the job, just normal fatigue. But by the fourth month of my contract, it got worse. I started losing sensation completely. My hands felt like they weren't part of my body anymore. I couldn't feel anything, not even burning hot plates straight from the dishwasher. I'd been stacking them, moving them, and it was like I was doing it with someone else's hands. The nights were the worst. I couldn't sleep on both my sides because of the pain. It would shoot through my arms, so sharp and unbearable that it would wake me up. I'd cry quietly until I fell back asleep. During one of my shifts at the dishwash, I realized I could barely feel anything I was touching. The pain and numbness were taking over. I finally asked my supervisor if I could get my hands checked up, and they agreed. And so I went for a checkup in Amsterdam. The initial diagnosis was hernia cervicalis. It was basically a cervical disc issue, likely pressing on the nerves, causing me to feel both numbness on both my hands. The doctor was clear. I needed to see a specialist, a neurologist. I needed physical therapy. I needed rest. In short, I needed to be sent home to get a proper treatment. But when I returned to the ship, everything changed. My bosses didn't even take it seriously. It felt like they didn't even believe me. One of them outright said that I was probably just making excuses to go home. But why would I even want to go home when salary is really, really good? When everything here on board is free? Then the hotel director asked me, "Angie, if your condition is real, why is it only you? Why don't the other men in the galley have the same issue as you?" That question cut deep. I had no answer. I am not them. I don't know why my body gave up and theirs didn't. He told me if I really wanted to go home and get treatment, I should just resign, because they weren't going to approve a medical repatriation for me. They weren't even going to acknowledge that this was a medical case. To them, it was just trying to escape. The hotel manager did tell me not to rush a decision. He said he knew how I worked. He even said if I would resign, it would take months for treatment. And so he asked if possible, just don't resign. Before we continue, please help support this channel by clicking the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. And don't forget to click that like button and hit that notification bell so you'll be updated to my latest gossips. Yeah. Okay, let's proceed. A few days after everything started piling up, I snapped. I got into a heated fight with one of the guys in the galley. And if you're working in the galley, you know how intense that environment can get. People are stressed, tired, and sometimes all it takes is one small spark to blow everything up. But for me, it wasn't just a fight. It was everything I'd been carrying, physically, mentally, emotionally. I'd been holding it for so long that when I finally lost it, I really lost it. I was already dealing with non-stop pain in my hands, and my chest had started aching too. My blood pressure had been dangerously high for weeks now, never lower than 140/90, and sometimes shooting up to 160 or 180 over 110. Every day I felt like I was walking around with a ticking time bomb inside me. So that night, after that argument, I made my final decision. I went to my boss the next day and told him straight up, I want to resign. I'm willing to pay all my ticket just to go home and finally get myself be-checked properly. Because I knew if I tried to finish the remaining 4 months of my contract, I wasn't going to make it. Hotel director asked me to do one last checkup on one of the ports we'll be docking. At first I hesitated because it would be very expensive to do the test and checkup in Germany. But he said insurance will pay, and so I agreed. I went out in Cologne, Germany and saw another doctor. They did some nerve and muscle tests. This time, the diagnosis was clear. Massive carpal tunnel syndrome. When I asked the doctor what the best treatment was, she didn't hesitate to say, surgery. The doctor signed the papers. I was declared unfit for work, but fit to fly. And I can't even explain the relief I felt in that moment. Finally, I was going home. Not as a quitter, but as someone who needed to save themselves before it was too late. That's how I ended up here, in the hospital. I've had surgery on my dominant hand, my working hand. The one that's done all the heavy lifting and work for years. And now, I'm in recovery. It's not easy. Honestly, it's been rough. Everything hurts. I can't do the simplest thing without struggling. Combing my hair, taking a shower, using the bathroom, cooking, eating, brushing my teeth, washing the dishes, and doing laundry. All of it. Doing all of it, alone, that's been the hardest part. But I'm here. I'm healing. Slowly. One step at a time. So, that's all for now. I just needed to let this out. I'll update again when I feel stronger.